What's up everybody, Iron Trek 96 here, finally bringing you a video review that I said that I was going to get out there for you guys for quite a while now. And finally, after a month or a month and a half, I decided to get down to it, and you know, here it is, the True Hero Sentinel 1 AB-115 Shark plane. To start things off, I like to point out just one thing. This plane is huge. Not necessarily because it says it on the box, but because that's my personal opinion of it, as I'm pretty sure everybody else's opinion. For a 3 3/4 inch scaled plane, this plane is big. Is not as big as, let per se, you know, some G.I. Joe vehicles, but for a True Heroes, this plane is awesome. I mean, as you can see on the box right here, it says the wingspan is 34 inches. And it shows 3 of its features right there. Opening top, you could have a little play area for your figures. A opening ramp on the back. And those 3 figures right there are the ones that come with this plane that we'll get more into detail with later on. And right there, well, it tells you that it's 34 inches, the wingspan. And it has a little handle there for, you know, for you to fly it around. And the back of the box shows this really neat artwork of another vehicle that's in this line that it's pretty much promoting, and it happens to be that missile truck there, which also retails for 50 bucks at Toys R Us, and it shows other action figures there that may or may not come with this vehicle or just on their own. And one thing I like to point out about this toy line in particular is that it tends to promote other products in its line instead of showing actual product shots of the plane itself in this case. And I'm not saying that necessarily all of them are like that, just the majority of them. You know, in this case, it's not the actual plane in the back. There's no product shots at all. Anything related to the plane's on the front of the box. But anyways, enough with the box, onto the actual. Alright, and here we have a look at the plane itself, and my God, you know, this thing is huge. It literally is a big plane, and they're not kidding when they say it. But yeah, the box itself was pretty big. I mean, it had to be big enough to hold this ginormous thing. But this plane itself, it is just awesome. I'm telling you, this plane is cool. For 50 bucks, you can't go wrong with this. Toys R Us really did pull it off. This thing is awesome. And for a non-Hasbro toy or big name company toy, this is pretty damn cool. Alright, then here's a close-up of the nose of the plane, and it's pretty simple. I mean, the sculpting, the details on this thing are not that great, and the paint job is just quite plain. The only thing that pretty much makes the front of the plane stand out are these 2 shark stickers on the sides here that are actually pretty reminiscent to another plane that I have, and we'll compare this one to. And here's a closer look at the actual cockpit itself, which does open, and the way you could do that is you pretty much grab it from both sides here and squeeze inwards to get it to open up. And here you have, but I just threw in the 3 figures that this plane comes with in there just for storage purposes, but this cockpit can honestly fit 3 figures, as you can see, quite sloppily, if that's even a word, but it's actually meant to fit 2 of the figures quite nicely, as you can tell, but it really can't, you know, it really doesn't matter because there really is no molded detail in there, no seats or anything like that. It's just pretty plain, so there's no controls, no dials, nothing, no stickers. It's just pretty plain. The top of the plane looks pretty cool. It's got a few stickers that you actually have to apply on yourself. It's got a couple of buttons here that are actually meant for lights and sounds, which is pretty cool. It's got that massive wingspan, as you can see. It's huge. It's actually 34 inches. It's got the handle right here, and it's got this spring-loaded sliding tab that you could actually use to remove the top in order for you to get in there with your figures. And onto the back, you know, it's pretty cool. It's simple detailing on this thing. And for lights and sounds, this plane is actually quite simple when it comes to it. The lights are actually just, you know, your simple red LED lights that go along with the sounds. And it only has 2 sounds that go off. And these buttons right here are the ones that operate the sounds, one for each of the sound. And I'm going to press this one right here so you guys could hear what it is. And as you can see, the cannons on both sides do light up. And no matter how many times you press it, it'll still be the same sound. Which is pretty cool. And on to the next one. And as you can see, both of the cannons, they light up. Do it again. Yeah, they did light up for the second sound, and that's pretty much it for the lights and sounds. Another neat feature is that these propellers do spin. Not as smooth as I would want them to, but they actually do spin nonetheless. They're actually quite nice and snug in there. You know, you're not going to have to worry about them falling out, because you do have to put these on the actual plane itself when you're assembling. There is assembly required. The wings, you're going to have to apply them on to the actual base, which is the handle part right here. As you can see, there's a crack right there, or a gap that if you see the glossiness around it, I actually glued it in place, because they do actually tend to fall out, and it's not as fun as it is now that they're permanently in there. It doesn't affect it in any way. Sure, I mean, it makes it a little bit harder for you to store it if you're going to store it, but why would you want to store beauty like this? And yeah, you actually have to assemble this part too, which I did glue in, because this one had I had more problems with this one actually falling out, the back fin right here. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Here's a look at the side of the plane. All those stickers that you may see on there, you actually have to apply them yourself, and it's got some pretty decent detailing going on there. It's not that bad. It's a pretty cool plane. It's got the speaker gaps right there, and it's pretty cool. This cannon here, this translucent cannon, is where the lights will be shining from. Here's the other side of the plane, where it actually has an opening door that you could actually use to put some figures in there as well, which does lead up to the actual feature on the top, which we'll get to in a minute. And it's pretty cool. And detailing here, it's got some nice machine guns here that are movable, or that do move. And this missile here does come off, so does the one on the other side. Alright, and on to the actual top. The main feature of this thing, it's the opening top part, or the opening compartment, to actually have a little play area in there for your figures. And as you can see, there's a decent amount of space in there. It's pretty cool. And there's 4 seats that you actually do have to assemble in there yourself, and it's pretty cool. It has enough room for quite a few figures, but 4 of them could only sit. And these gaps right there between the seats, these little slots, are actually meant to hold the figures' weapons, which is freaking awesome. They got some nice molded in detail over there, as you can see. And the seats themselves are pretty simple, but they got some detail nonetheless. There's a little fire hydrant or fire extinguisher right there. Alright, inside the plane, there is this little computer console that's included in there, which is pretty awesome. It's got some nice details going on here and there. It's actually pretty plain. It lacks a paint job, but it's pretty neat. I actually like the amount of detail that was put in this thing. It's not the best, but it is pretty cool. It's got a little headset there, keyboard, screens, and this up here is actually a sticker you apply yourself, which also does have pretty nice detailing going on there. Little numbers right there, like a countdown going on. It's got all these dials and stuff. It's freaking awesome. On the back of the computer, it's actually pretty plain. It's not really meant to be displayed from the back. So that just goes in here, and it fits there nice and snug. It actually, if you're going to be moving the plane around, it actually tends to move around in there as well. But yeah, that's a perfect spot for it. I think that's how the box has it pictured. You know, that's where it's meant to be. And here's a little door that I pointed out earlier. It does lead to the inside. You can have your figures go in there. And yes, it's perfect scale with Star Wars 3 3/4 inch Boba Fett, and I'm sure with any other figure. Another neat thing this plane actually comes with for the inside play area is this map, this little table, and it's a sticker you have to apply on it yourself as well, and you have to assemble this table too, as you can see, and it's pretty cool. Alright, then here we have a look at the inside once again with 4 figures actually sitting on there nice and snug, and there's pretty much a lot of room in there going, you know, we got a lot going on, and having figures in there either sitting down or standing up does not affect in any way the wings going back on there, so it actually closes back up with no problem. The only thing is that there's no pegs inside, so if you're going to close it back up and move this thing around, yeah, things are going to fall over, move around in there, and it's going to leave a disaster inside the plane. One more thing I like to point out about the inside, or these machine guns in general, is that they're all connected through this plastic that you see right there. So if one moves, they all move. And yes, your figures can hold on to the handles on the sides of each gun and look pretty badass, you know, while shooting enemies either in flight or on the ground. Onto the back of the plane, here's a opening door that's on the back, and the awesome part is that you don't have to worry about it opening up while you're in flight, because it's got this little knob here that you could turn to lock it. As you can see, it's locked, or to unlock it, and it's pretty cool. As you can see, it's pretty awesome. It leaves you barely enough clearance for your figures to fit in there. You have to kind of, you know, struggle to try to get them in there. So yeah, I think that compared to the helicopter's cargo door, this one is not as great. The helicopter one from my previous review is actually way better. As you can see, here they are side by side. There's way more clearance on the actual helicopter than there is on the plane, which is a good thing because it allows you to actually navigate with whatever you're going to put in there a lot better, you know, and it actually gives you enough clearance to store a vehicle in there, where on the other hand over here it doesn't. So pretty much the only playability, you know, the only fun you're going to get out of the plane in terms of playability is through the top. Alright, and here we have a look at the figures that come with the plane, and before I actually get into depth with these things, I just like to point out that they're just decent figures. They're like the cheaply made figures. I mean, in terms of molded detail and quality, no, you know, molded detail and quality, they're alright, but like what I'm trying to say is they're like the not big name brand toys, like not the necessarily Dollar Tree quality toys. They're just not that great, like in terms of your G.I. Joe or Star Wars figure, but you know, they're okay. They lack, for sure, a decent paint job, but the detailing on these things are actually pretty good. And when it comes to the back, they're actually quite plain, unfortunately. I mean, sure, they got a few little paint smudges going on here because it's part of the camo of this guy. Same thing with this guy. He's got a few, but you know, for like the straps or the weapons that are on the actual figure itself, they're not really painted to, you know, stand out. And even the gun right here is not really painted. Doesn't have a, you know, it's just pretty plain. But in terms of the, like I was saying, the plastic and the detailing, it's pretty good. It doesn't feel like the cheap plastic. It actually feels quite sturdy, you know, quite tough. And but yeah, here's this guy. Honestly, I don't know their names. I don't even think they have names. They're just your generic soldiers that happen to come with these vehicles. And this guy does have this awesome mask, or helmet, which does come off, revealing that Duke-ish, you know, what I'm trying to say, like he looks like Duke. They're trying to make him look like Duke from G.I. Joe. And I'm trying to get this to, God. Yeah, I can't get the, come on. There we go. Yeah, it's struggling, the camera's struggling, but yeah, it's got a decent detail, you know, decent molding. It's not bad. And the mask is actually pretty cool. It looks a lot like the Fallout mask, which I actually think looks pretty cool. Alright, and this guy right here, I don't know what his name is either, and he looks like the co-pilot, because this guy's obviously the pilot. And in terms of articulation, this one's the weakest. You can barely move his head around. I mean, it's supposed to do a 360, but because of the respirator, it can't really move. And the arms are pretty much stuck in this position. It does do a full 360 on both sides, and they are stuck in this, you know, in this position. The legs do go forward and back. They do not bend at the knee. They're just stiff like that. And this guy is a little bit better. It does do a 360, but it's a little hard. Oh, actually, it doesn't do a 360. Well, it's supposed to do a 360. There we go. The arms do go full 360. Bend at the elbow, rotate at the wrist. The legs do go forward and back, bend at the knee, and that's about it for this guy. For this guy, it's a full 360 on the head. The arms go 360, bend at the knee, or bend at the elbow, sorry. Rotate at the wrist. Legs do go forward and back, bend at the knee, and that's it. Quick size comparison. Here they are next to a 3 3/4 inch Boba Fett from Star Wars, and they do go along with the 3 3/4 inch figures real good. As you can see, they are obviously a little bit bulkier, but yeah. And here is a even quicker size comparison next to the Target Elite Force toy line, and this is, you know, once again the Toys R Us True Heroes toy line. And as you can see, pretty much the same in terms of crappiness of the figures. I do want to say that the Toys R Us True Heroes is a little bit better, but to be honest with you, they're just as crappy. I'll stick with G.I. Joe figures or Star Wars. Alright, and another thing this plane does come with is a dog tag, which I have set aside. Oh my god. Alright, accessory wise, this playset does come with quite a few of them. And to be honest, I'm going to just point out that I really don't care about these accessories. So I really don't know which ones came with this plane, because what I do with all the vehicles I happen to have gotten is just stack them up like this. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, which are just, you know, the tear outs, and I really don't know which one comes with which. So what I just do is set them aside. As you can see, it's one of these three, or probably, you know, here we have a look at one of them, and here's another one, and here's another one. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know which ones come with this plane, and it does come with a dog tag, but I pretty much do the same thing with them as well. I don't know which one comes with this plane, but from what I've seen, they're actually packaged in there randomly. So it really doesn't matter. I guess you could say this one came with the plane, or this one, or this one. It doesn't really matter, you know. There are other accessories that come with these playsets, and they're loose weapons. Like you can see this one right here, and it's in distinct color. Or this one, this one, this one, or this one. And yeah, these backpacks also. Here's a quick size comparison. Yeah, you can see how big that plane really is next to the helicopter that I did review on my previous video. And yeah, I'm trying to get a good angle of this so you can get both of them in a shot. Yeah, that's about as high as I could go. Yeah, it's pretty hard to get these two in the same shot because they're both pretty big, but the plane's bigger. Here it is next to the Thunderbolt from the Elite Force from Target. And yeah, get a general idea on how it is. Oh, that works better. Just walk back a bit. Yeah, you can see 3 of them right there. It's a pretty big plane. And here it is next to the Walmart exclusive Star Wars Rebels Millennium Falcon and the G.I. Joe Retaliation Ghost. Alright, and that's it for my review on the True Hero Sentinel 1 AB-115 Shark plane. Sorry it took so long to get this video out there for you guys. I know it was over a month since I said I would get this out there. And I've been really wanting to do it because I'm actually trying to... I've been looking forward to reviewing my Star Wars figures from The Force Awakens. But, you know, I've just been busy and I couldn't really get to it. But I finally got this video out there for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Comment below. I would really appreciate it. And this is Iron Trek 96 saying, have a good one.